Thomas the Tank Engine is a little blue engine who lives on the island of Sodor. He has many engine friends, and they all try to be really useful. There was harmony on the island of Sodor until one day a mean diesel engine arrived. He was called Diesel 10, and he hated steam engines. He growled as he sped past Thomas and Gordon, the express engine. Thomas was scared of Diesel 10, but he knew he had to be a brave little engine. Far away from the island of Sodor, across the wide ocean, and on the other side of Muffle Mountain, was the town of Shining Time. It was the home of Mr. Conductor, who comes and goes in gold dust. Mr. Conductor was getting ready for a trip to the island of Sodor on the Magic Railroad. The Magic Railroad was a Conductor family's secret. The engines were very glad to see their friend Mr. Conductor. He would take care of them while Sir Topham Hatt, the railroad director, went on vacation. But Diesel 10 had other plans. He snarled. That night, Diesel 10 sidled up to the shed while Mr. Conductor and the engines were asleep. Mr. Conductor mumbled in his dreams. He woke up remembering what his family had always told him. He blew his whistle, but it had no sparkle. Cried Mr. Conductor. Diesel 10 slunk quietly away. Using a bluebell, Mr. Conductor called his cousin Junior and told him to fetch the emergency supply of gold dust from Shining Time Station. About that time, a young girl named Lily arrived at Shining Time, led by a friendly dog called Mutt. Lily had come from the big city to visit her grandpa, Burnett Stone, who lived on Muffle Mountain. The trains didn't stop on Burnett's side of the mountain, but that night, Lily heard the sound of a train whistle outside her window. The next morning, Thomas went to fetch coal for Henry, who had boilache. The last freight car wasn't coupled properly to the others. It glided through an old set of buffers and disappeared. Meanwhile, a very tired Mr. Conductor was searching for the source of the gold dust. Diesel 10 caught him walking along a viaduct. Diesel 10 grabbed Mr. Conductor with his claw and dangled him over the gorge. Mr. Conductor yanked out his pilers and cut one of the cables connected to Diesel 10's claw. The claw sprang open and flung Mr. Conductor onto a sack of grain at the base of the windmill. There, he found a clue to the source of the gold dust. It said, Back at Shining Time Station, Lily met Mr. Conductor's cousin Junior. He appeared in a wonderful cascade of sparkles. Junior was on his way to the island of Sodor. He asked Lily to go with him, said Junior. Whoosh! Suddenly, they were on the Magic Railroad, moving bumpily along. The gold dust made little pools of light in the dark tunnel. The two of them glided right through the buffers at the end of the track. Lily's eyes widened when she saw the island of Sodor in all its marvelous magic. Thomas was saying to Percy. Percy said excitedly. Said Thomas. To Thomas's surprise, he found Junior instead. Junior introduced Thomas to the assassinated Lily. She couldn't believe that trains could talk. In no time at all, Thomas was puffing along with Lily and Junior on board. Junior spotted his cousin at the bottom of the windmill. Junior said. Mr. Conductor smiled and gave his cousin a hug. In his darkness workshop, Burnett Stone was working on the beautiful golden steam engine called Lady. It was Lady's whistle that Lily had heard that night. When Burnett was young, Lady was hurt in a terrible accident. Lady's beautiful face had faded, and the Magic Railroad faded with it. As hard as he tried, Burnett couldn't make Lady come back to life, whispered Burnett as he worked. On the island of Sodor, Diesel 10 was planning to destroy the Magic Railroad. He told his hench Diesel, Splatter and Dodge. Percy overheard the Diesel's plan and knew the engines had to act quickly. Percy said Mr. Conductor. Thomas said bravely. As Thomas and Lily chugged toward the magic buffers, Mr. Conductor called after them. They reached the buffers and went right through them, onto the magic railroad. They spotted the missing coal car and quickly coupled it to Thomas. Looming up ahead was a huge set of buffers. Thomas and Lily passed right through them onto Muffle Mountain. Lily jumped off Thomas and ran to Burnett's workshop. Elsewhere on Muffle Mountain, a huge explosion jolted Thomas off the ground and onto another branch of the magic railroad. In this unfamiliar place, Thomas wasn't sure he could find his way back to where he left Lily. He hurried off to find a connection back to the main line. At the same time, Lily rushed into Burnett's workshop, where she saw the beautiful golden engine. Exclaimed Lily. Said Burnett sadly, but Lily suddenly realized that she did. Lily said. Soon, Lady was steaming along the magic railroad. As she gathered speed, her lovely face was revealed once again. Lily murmured to herself. The railroad's energy was returning. Shavings all the colors of the rainbow fell behind Lady and gathered on the ground. Lily caught some shavings in her backpack. Then she saw Thomas about to meet up with the magic railroad's main line. As the shimmering shavings settled on the rusty tracks, Thomas gained traction and gathered speed. With a long, low roar, Lady burst through the buffers onto the island of Sodor. Burnett, Lily, and Mutt jumped off Lady to join the others. Then Thomas burst through the buffers right behind Lady. Suddenly, Diesel 10 appeared, as if from nowhere. With a roar, he rushed at Thomas, his jagged claws snapping. Yelled Diesel 10. Called Thomas. Burnett leaped into Lady's cab, and they sped towards an old viaduct. Thomas raced between Lady and Diesel 10. As Lady crossed the viaduct, it began to crumble, and a hole opened in the track ahead of Thomas. Thomas bravely jumped the gap, but as Diesel 10 closed in, the rest of the viaduct collapsed. Screamed Diesel 10. Diesel 10 slid over the edge of the viaduct and dropped onto a barge filled with sludge. Off he floated, never to be seen again. Lily opened her backpack and scooped out the wonderful shavings from the railroad. Mr. Conductor recited, remembering the rest of the clue to the gold dust. Shouted Junior. Lily mixed the shavings with soda water and shook them around, as if painting for gold. Then she threw the mixture into the air. Everyone yelled. Back in the magic buffers, Mr. Conductor and Junior recovered their sparkle with the new gold dust. Lily and her grandfather hugged each other with joy. It was a happy Thomas who puffed home that evening, knowing that a little blue engine like himself had been so very useful.